Good evening, good evening. And give it a moment for everyone to hop on and join me live. Welcome, welcome. Welcome, welcome. Hey, Bless, welcome. The rest of your life, and I said, okay, let me turn off. Let me turn off the music. Okay, I'm always jamming out to something, some sort of good vibe jams before I go live. Oh, Jessica Carter, the peaceful billionaire here. Welcome, welcome. Aloha, aloha. Tell me your name, sir. Welcome, welcome. I love addressing people by name. So if you drop your name in the comments, I will address you by name. Well, I have a fun one this evening. Today is number 7 of 10 ways for you to unleash your inner billionaire and optimize your mind for inevitable success, inevitable next level, wow, if I could talk, wealth, peace, fulfillment, right? That next level financial success, the financial freedom, and the peace and the fulfillment that goes along with it, right? I think that's important to talk about, right? Because I've said this before, I say this all the time, right? Because all of the money in the world is not going to feel good if you're mentally, oh, you saw me. Hey, Pete. Oh, you did. You saw me speak and Think and Grow Rich. Oh my gosh. That was the best event. I had so much fun speaking there. As a matter of fact, John's been on my mind. John's been on my mind today. And actually the first time, hey there. Hey, Prutha. Welcome, welcome. Actually, the first time I learned this, what I'm going to be sharing with you tonight, I actually learned from John. So that's incredible that you're here. Wow, I lost my train of thought before that, right? So optimizing your mind for inevitable next level success, whether that's next level financial success, financial freedom, wealth, fulfillment, peace, right? So you want the peace and the fulfillment to be alongside and in conjunction, happening at the same time simultaneously as that next level financial success. And this is one of the things that I say all the time, right? I say all of the money in the world isn't going to feel good if you're mentally, physically, spiritually, or emotionally bankrupt, right? So you're creating that next level of wealth and success and financial freedom for yourself from a place of overflow, from a place of excess, from a place of overflow within. And that helps to put jet fuel, right, on those dreams, goals, and desires and bring them in faster. Bring them in faster. So this is number 7 of ways, right, for you to unleash your inner billionaire and really, really start to optimize and leverage your mind to make that next level success for yourself absolutely inevitable. And I'm gonna start with the opposite of it, right? So there's what's out there. Give me some yeses. Give me some yeses if you've heard the saying before, fake it until you make it. Have you ever heard the saying, fake it until you make it? Give me some yeses. Give me some yeses. I know you've heard it, right? Fake it until you make it. Well, one of the things as when you really, really, really are tuned in to how powerful your mind is, how valuable your mind is, you realize that these small nuanced things are actually very important and very powerful. And it was actually when I was writing the book, when I was writing the first book, when I was writing The Peaceful Multimillionaire, that this came through to me. And I really was thinking about all of these different ways, right, that your brain can either support your success journey, right, or stop you dead in your tracks or hold you back and keep you stuck. And one of the ways that happens is through sayings. And the reason is that sayings, like most sayings, the ones that are familiar to you, you've not only heard them hundreds or millions of times in your life, but you've said or used them many, many times in your life. And that repetition of these sayings that seemingly don't mean much or hold much value, if you use these unsupportive, disempowering sayings, such as fake it until you make it, what happens is that gets stored in your subconscious mind and it becomes part of your belief systems. And so what happens is with the example of fake it until you make it, that is so disempowering and unsupportive, and it actually fosters and facilitates imposter syndrome. Now, I'm personally not a fan of imposter syndrome because I have a background in Western medicine, right? And imposter syndrome is not a real diagnosable condition, but there's a lot of things externally that make people feel that imposter syndrome is very real or true for them. And one of them is this saying in in that normal societal driven perception of success, the push, 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 the go, 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 the do, 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 fake it until you make it. I personally don't subscribe to that. And I would invite you to unsubscribe, hit unsubscribe button to faking it until you make it, because you can't actually fake anything, right? You are you. No more, no less. You are you, right? The you that you are today is more than enough to achieve the success that you desire. So there's nothing for you to fake. There's nothing for you to fake. You can't fake being you. Who else are you going to be? You're you, right? I'm me, you're you, and you can't fake that. So the shift to something that is empowering and supportive is faith it. Faith it until you make it. Faith it until you make it. Faith is actually an energy. It is a really powerful energy that clears the channel to co-creating the reality and the dreams, the goals, desires, the success, the financial success that you choose for yourself. Faith clears the channel. It opens it up. It creates it faster, right? It acts as fuel. So that's one of the things. Actually, I want to probably talk about that because I could open a whole other can of worms with the energy, with the energy of faith and clearing the channel, and the power of your feelings as fuel, right? Because that's where. When you think of something like fake it until you make it, like think of like the feeling that you feel that goes along with that. Nothing about faking it until you get somewhere feels good, right? It doesn't feel good. So, and your feelings, your emotions are your jet fuel, right? So if you have a lower vibrational feeling, it's going to slow things down. And since it doesn't feel good to fake something that's not authentic, that doesn't feel good to you, it automatically slows you down, right? But it can feel good to faith it, right? You can have faith in something, right? Believe it, and then you see it, right? Most people function in that, I have to see it. Instagram always freezes on me. Most people function in that I have to believe it in order to see it. And it's actually the opposite. You believe it and then you see it. So you believe it and then you see it. So what you can do is you place trust and belief in places that you then want to see an outcome. And you water that seed of trust, you water that seed of belief with faith, right? It's this incredibly powerful energy that fuels the channel to bringing forth that very thing that you're placing your trust and your belief in, right? The faith is that energy that clears the channel, brings it forward. So don't So don't stay in that place, right? You don't have to fake anything until you make it. So now you know that you get to faith it until you make it. Pete's here. The first time I learned that one, the first time I heard that one, was from John Shannon. The light bulb went off in my head when he said it, and I was like, I can't believe I've never heard that one. That one's so good. That one's so, so, so good. But especially when you understand why, right? Why faking it until you make it is so disempowering and unsupportive. And now you have this new way to faith it until you make it that is very empowering and very supportive of getting you from where you are to where you want to be faster and easier and in a way that feels better. Because that's also something that's so, so, so important to me on this journey, right? On this journey, on your success journey, whatever that is that you choose, right? This journey of success, of greater levels of success, of wealth, of peace, of fulfillment, of financial freedom. It's so important to me that you feel exquisite on the journey, because money is one of those things that a lot of times doesn't feel good, right? The thought of having a lot of money, being rich, being wealthy, that can stir up a lot of emotion. And that's why it's so important for me, right, to combine these two things, right? The peaceful billionaire, to combine money and wealth and attaining those higher levels of financial freedom, of wealth, of success in a way that feels good, that is peaceful, that you can enjoy the journey. You can enjoy that path of getting from point A to point B, of getting from where you are now to where you want to be, where you choose to be. Actually, I slipped and I caught myself, right? So if you were here on any of the other lives, that was one of the other perspective shifts that is very nuanced that I teach. But again, this is the reason that I teach things in regards to your mind that are so nuanced that you probably don't hear a lot of other people say or teach. And it's because of my background in neurosurgery, my background in neuroscience. When you really and then right and then years of in-depth study of studying really how the mind works, right? So I had this background in how the brain worked physically, and then I dove really deep into understanding how the mind works, right? How the mind works metaphysically, how the mind works energetically, to either create, right, co-create, create what it is that you're working towards, or to slow you down and hold you back. And it's so these nuanced things, when you really understand how valuable your mind is and how powerful your mind is, these nuanced things are subtle, but they're extremely powerful and they're extremely important, which is why I give you a value of your mind, right? I always talk about the value of your mind as a $27 billion asset. And I do that. That's also strategic and intentional. Everything that I do, everything that I say is strategic and intentional, because ultimately, right? Ultimately, your mind is priceless. But what happens is, because your physical brain, right? There are aspects of your mind that want to make things tangible. So your mind has a difficult time conceiving something that is priceless, conceiving something that is limitless, right? So that Jim Quick has a book called Limitless, which is incredible. Yes, and your mind actually is limitless, right? You have limitless potential. But it's very challenging for your mind to quantify that, or to really wrap your head around it. And that's what your mind wants to do. Your mind wants to quantify things. And so that was where, when I was writing the first book, Writing the Peaceful Millionaire, that I was given this formula for how I came up with the $27 billion asset. And it's because you need something tangible to wrap your mind around, to really understand how valuable your mind is, right? You can imagine $27 billion. You know that's a lot. So you can imagine your mind being that valuable. And then when I say your mind also is then powered with 27 billion kilowatts of power, that's something tangible. right? That's something tangible. So do you want to put those 27 billion kilowatts of power that your mind has available to you towards faking it until you make it, or towards faithing it until you make it, right? So you get to choose, right? And that's the beauty and the power of it, is ultimately it is your choice. But I certainly invite you to choose the latter, right? I invite you to choose to faith it until you make it, right? To have faith in getting from where you are to where you want to be versus faking it. Um, and but that value, and these nuanced things, that's why they're so powerful. And what I caught myself on before is is using this towards what it is that you choose to have versus what you want. So that was one of the other tips, tools, strategies that I taught last week. It was shifting what you want to what you choose to have. And the reason for that is that want still comes from a place of lack. So you're still in that kind of poverty mindset of thinking. And this nuanced stuff is about mastering your mind, right? Mastering your mind. Most people teach mindset. And what I don't teach mindset, I teach mastery. Right? Mastery. Because when you really, really change and create these small shifts in the language that you're using, you're automatically creating ripple effects of change in your life, ripple effects of change in your life, but also in your subconscious mind. You're also, by changing the language that you're using consciously with your thinking brain, with your thinking mind, you're automatically changing programming in your subconscious mind, because your subconscious mind can only receive, it cannot reject. So that's why it's so powerful and important what is going on in your mind consciously, right? What's coming into your mind consciously, meaning what are you listening to? What are you reading? What are the conversations that you're having with people? Because everything that comes in consciously, right, your subconscious mind is in the background, and it's constantly recording everything that's going on. It's constantly recording everything that's been happening in your life since the day you were born, and it can only accept, it cannot reject. But your conscious mind, your logical mind, can reject and can change things and create new things for your subconscious mind to then accept. But that's the background of what's going on and why this is so powerful and why it works, because you're literally changing how your conscious thinking logical mind speaks to your subconscious mind. And ultimately, it is your subconscious mind that is creating your reality. So the reality that you're experiencing externally in the outer world is a projection of your beliefs, your patterns, and your habits that are stored subconsciously. Not actually just based on the thought that you're having consciously. And that's a whole other thing that I can get into. Maybe that's what I'll chat about tomorrow. I think I'll do that. I think tomorrow I'll chat about the difference between manifestation and co-creation, and again, why I teach mastery versus mindset, because there's a really, really big difference between mindset, which is you're only using 5% of your mind, 5% of your potential, right? You're only using 5% of that $27 billion asset. You're only using 5% of those 27 billion kilowatts of power that way. And what I teach and my intention for you is to use 100%, for you to leverage and optimize so that you're using 100% of your mind. You're using 100% of that $27 billion value. You're using 100% of those 27 billion kilowatts of power. They're already yours. It's already yours. It's about giving you access to it, right? So that you can harness that value and that power and aim it towards anything that you choose to have. Now, in particular, most of the time I'm talking about your financial destiny, because I am on a mission to make financial freedom the norm for anyone who chooses to walk this path and to take that journey with me, right? Because it's a journey that you can take together, right? Because that's where it's powerful. It's really challenging to achieve things on an island all by yourself. And I spent most of my life on that island, falsely believing that I had to do it all myself. Falsely believing that I had to do it all myself. And that came from external influence from family, right? That's not intentional. There's a lot of things that get said that we hear a lot growing up from our family that's not supportive, and that slows us down and holds us back when we get older. Now, that's not intentional. I'm not knocking anybody's family, and I'm not knocking my own family, but your perception of these things that you hear can really slow you down and set you back. And that was one of those things that I was not aware of for the majority of my life that was slowing me down and holding me back. Was I was raised to be this strong, super strong, independent woman, and to never need a man, and to just strive for that success. And I became the epitome of that. But what happened is I didn't know, like, I thought I had to do it all alone, right? So sometimes, like, what you hear and what you actually internalize are two different things. And what I internalized was that I had to do it all myself, everything. And so I had been attempting to, I was like fighting my way through life, and I was attempting to do everything myself for most of my life, never asking for help, never asking for support, never asking for guidance. And that was one of the most eye-opening moments when I started my personal, professional, and spiritual growth journey. At the very first event that I went to, there were people like, no, it takes a team. It takes what is the saying with kids, right? It takes an army. It's okay to ask for help. It's okay to ask for support. Wait, what? That was so new and so foreign to me. If you can relate to that, give me in the chat. Now, for some of you, it's the opposite, right? For some of you, it's probably the opposite, but some of you probably experienced something similar to me, where you kind of felt like you had to do everything on your own. And so that's a really lonely way to get there. And it's also a much harder way to get anywhere. Hey, Chrissy, welcome. So that's a really, really not fun. And I did that again. I did that for most of my life, and it's not fun. It's not a fun way to get anywhere. And so tomorrow, Chrissy, you're joining me right at the end. So tomorrow, I'll talk more about that. I'm gonna mental note it in, because I really do, when I go live, it's really not pre-planned. It's pretty it's pretty ad lib, off the cuff. So tomorrow, I think that would be really fun and really valuable for you if I talk about the difference, right? The difference between manifestation and co-creation, and the difference between mindset and mastery, because they're two very, very different things. And I teach co-creation and I teach mastery, right? Mastering. So that mastery is giving you access to optimize and leverage 100% of your mind, 100% of this incredibly powerful and valuable $27 billion asset that you already own. So I'll chat more about that tomorrow. If you missed the live this evening, you can catch the replay on YouTube. You can catch any of the replays of my lives on YouTube. They should also be on Instagram somewhere. I don't know how easy they are to find on Instagram, but my YouTube channel is at The Peaceful Billionaire, so you can find any of my live replays there. You can also find my vlog. I do a daily vlog entry. That is my personal behind the scenes transparent journey of what is required both internally and externally for myself right now, to tremendously scale and up level my success. So I share that as well. And I go live on Fridays at 11:30 a.m. Eastern time. So if you miss, like Monday through Thursday, I'm live at random times. I kind of hop on when it fits in my schedule during the day. But on Fridays, I'm always live at 11:30. I'll be dropping in some diamonds, some wisdom, some pearls to support you on your journey. And you'll have the opportunity to ask questions. So if you have questions, you can come and join me on Fridays at 11:30 Eastern time. Bring your questions. Please bring your questions. And also celebrate any wins that you have. So do that on Friday because I want you to celebrate whatever wins you've had for the week, no matter how big or how small they are, because what gets celebrated gets replicated. And when we celebrate together, we're really amplifying that energy and that frequency for each other, right? So we get to support each other on the journey, right? So you don't have to go it alone. And that is all. So don't fake anything until you make it. You now know you don't have to do that it's incredibly disempowering and unsupportive. And now you know that you can faith it until you make it. Faith it until you make it, which is extraordinarily empowering and supportive for you. And so until next time, faith it, and I will see you soon. Bye for now. Turns out my computer's not touchscreen.